We have Mike Tomlin's press conference following our win versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This was a game where, uh, you know, probably one of our most complete games of the year, I would say, where defense played pretty well. Two defensive scores. The offense was able to put up 20 just on their own, and that would have been enough to beat the Bengals based on the final score. But we'll take we'll take the two defensive scores. So obviously, you had in this game Jamar Chase spit on Jalen Ramsey, which led to Ramsey punching Jamar Chase. Now, much like if you have siblings or cousins or whoever, you had someone else in your family around your age growing up, right? When you did something to them or they did something to you, or even if you're a third party and, it's two other people, doesn't matter. If you have a situation like that, one of the kids does something, right? You usually don't catch the instigator, right? What you catch is the retaliation. And that's what happened here. They caught the retaliation by Jalen Ramsey. And he got ejected for throwing a punch, which, by NFL rules, is correct. He punched somebody. He's ejected. Luckily, it did not hurt the Steelers because it was still a one-score game at that point. Chuck Clark comes in. Steelers are able to pull away. So we now know that Jamar Chase has been suspended for a game. And not only has he been suspended, he decided to appeal the suspension, and he was denied. And in the locker room, we might see it, but in the locker room, Jalen's like, he spit on me. Jamar's like, no. Go to the video. Spit on him. And by appealing the suspension, that really to me says one of two things. Either, one, it says that Jamar does not think spitting on somebody should be a one-game suspension. Right? If he's like, okay, fine, I spit on him, but that's too harsh of a punishment, right? Because yes, he's not going to be able to play, but he's also losing out on over $507,000 because he's not going to be paid. So it's a $500,000 spit right there. And, so could he be appealing the fact that maybe he thinks it's too harsh of a punishment? Sure. Or is he doubling down on the idea that he did nothing wrong? And you lied about it. That's first. Now you got caught. By the way, Monday declined to speak to the media. Gee, I wonder why. What's wrong, Jamar? Why don't you want to talk? Huh? Why wouldn't you want to talk? If you're innocent, go talk. He's not innocent. So, a ton of people have talked about the incident already. So, basically it's the most disrespectful thing you can do to another person in general, right? So it's disrespectful. It's below Jamar Chase. It really is. A player of his caliber, and plus we saw this week one. We saw week one, Jalen Carter and Dak. So it's just the NFL, I think, wants to get a handle on this, and they may need to have a specific rule that Um, any accusations of spitting will be looked at, and if it's found to have truth to it, if it's found, like in this case, like yes, Jamar spit on Jalen, whether it's a 1 game suspension, maybe they move it to a 2 game suspension, whatever they need to do to make it so others are like, oh, I don't want that punishment, right? Like people have said, like, a punishment to one is made to deter others. So, you make an example out of one person. So, we're going to get into Mike Tomlin's press conference, but just a little recap there, and we'll see if we hear from Jalen here. And then I did hear Mike Tomlin made a comment about it in his next press conference leading up to our game versus the Bears.
Appreciative of the efforts. I thought we certainly fought hard. We played hard. In some instances, we could have played smarter. And so there's individual and collective learning that needs to happen in some of those instances, but that's life. It's good to learn with the win. It was a big AFC North win for us. Aaron's obviously out with a wrist injury.
Oh, yeah, it's broken wrist.
It'll be evaluated in the morning. I'll give you guys more
wrist.
information
There's a
there.
slight fracture.
Keyshawn Williams had a concussion. He's in the protocol.
Okay.
Jalen Warren had an ankle. I think he was able to return. The rest is bumps and bruises associated with play. Can't say enough about the collective effort. It certainly wasn't ideal. We got challenged in a lot of ways, but you're going to get challenged in the National Football League on weekends, and it's just good to get a win and get back on the right side of things, coming off of a poor performance and obviously a loss the last time we saw these guys. And so it's doubly satisfying from that perspective. Questions?
Was it Aaron's right wrist, and what can you say about Mason and Kenny Gainwell making the big play?
It was his left wrist, and Mason's proven in the past what he showed today. That's why we value him as a member of this collective and appreciative of his play. And certainly Kenny Gainwell made play after play for us, winning in the flat and so forth. But a lot of guys did. I thought our tight end run after with Muth and Darnell in particular was really good. You got to be able to throw short and run long sometimes, win conversions in that fashion, flip fields in that fashion. And so it was a lot of guys that contributed to that.
Has James Pierre grown throughout the year, not just in front of what we saw with our own eyes today?
He's grown throughout the years. Yes, he's gotten better with each and every year he's been here, with his roles and his ability to respond to opportunity and so forth. There's a veteran high level of consistency that we're seeing right now. That's why I talked about him the way I talked about him, I think, on Tuesday.
What keyed the better defensive performance against Cincinnati this time?
I'm sorry?
What keyed it today? What was better today than?
We got
More
stability
film.
at the safety position. Other than, Jalen not finishing the game, we got stability at the safety position.
Did you get any explanation of what happened with Jalen Ramsey? What led to him popping off against Jamar Chase?
I didn't need any. It doesn't matter. We gotta be smarter. We gotta stay in football games as individuals.
Just a follow-up to the safeties, Kyle Duggar, can you talk about his effect on the defense, the interception that he made could be the changing point of the game?
He's a veteran player, man, that's been there, done that guy. That's why we coveted him at the trade deadline. He's been an asset to us, certainly, and increasingly so. I'm excited about moving forward with him as he continues to get solid in assignments, communication, and understanding.
Ramsey ejected? Was he ejected, Mike? Or did you take him?
What's that?
Was he ejected?
He was ejected.
Okay, because I never heard the
He was ejected, yes, I'm sorry.
Aaron's injury designation was questionable. Could he have returned in the second half?
I don't have the answer to that, to be honest with you. I'll have more information next time we talk.
What do you think Mason Rudolph did? How did you feel like Mason Rudolph did?
As I mentioned, he's always delivered when called upon in the past. That's why we value him. His performance was consistent with what he's done in the past for us. And not that we take it for granted, we don't, we appreciate it.
Did he return to the sideline, or was he just staying in the locker room after his injury, Aaron Rodgers?
Again, I don't know. My attention was on the field and those that were on the field.
Do you do anything in the second half?
I'm sorry?
Do you do anything in the second half to kind of account for the fact that Mason hasn't played? Do you make things a little bit more cautious or careful?
No, Mason's played a lot of football in this league. We might lean to things that are more in his wheelhouse, but it wasn't because of lack of play.
Jamar Chase had a big day against you guys last time around. This day, 10 targets, 3 catches, 30 yards. He talked about how they knew what you guys were going to do last time around. What did you change up this time that might have gotten in the way of him having a good day?
I don't know that we changed anything of any significance. I just thought we were more solid today, to be honest with you.
Coach, your thoughts on Gainwell, not just rushing, but also receiving, as he led with 81 yards.
And I think he also made a tackle on kickoff, you know. I value him as a football player first. We saw a lot of that, man, on his Philadelphia tape. He's good in a lot of areas, including special teams. And so we just respect what he brings to the table.
Did you see exactly how Aaron got hurt? Or what happened?
I did not.
A lot about Mason thus far, and this is not to compare him to Aaron in any way, but when you have a guy that's familiar with your system, has experience as a Steeler, as a coach, is there any little bit of calming effect when you know number 2's going in with his background here?
It's no doubt. It's no doubt.
Anyone else?
Mike, what do you say for the offense in general? I mean, you talk about having faith in the individual players, but having your starting quarterback and your starting running back on the sideline could cause a lot of other issues that didn't seem to prop up for you.
That's life in the big dance. You're going to be challenged in a lot of ways as individuals, as collectives, or collectives within the larger collective. It's our job to adapt and improvise and do what's required to win.
Do you feel that your defensive front was more effective against Flacco and in terms of pressuring him than out in Cincinnati?
I just thought as a collective, whether it's front, secondary, linebackers, I just think we were more solid. I think we were more connected. I thought we communicated well. It's not necessarily about what it is that they do. It's about the quality of what we do. And I thought we were just above the line in so many of the intangible areas today that allowed us to play.
What can be said about Darnell Washington's performance today, especially that big run that he had where I think he moved over like 3 Bengals?
It's been highly consistent. We're appreciative of him. We're appreciative of Spencer Anderson. That's why we introduced him with the starting lineup to show respect to that.
Were you able to talk with Aaron after his injury, either off the field or at halftime?
I was.
Did he disclose anything?
He was excited about the win. I just talked to him. But that's all we talked about. We didn't talk about his injury. We talked about the significance of the win.
Anyone else?
How significant can you say this win is, considering with where you guys are in the division?
It's perspective. It feels good right now, but it's about what happens moving forward, and it always is. That's just the nature of this thing. It's sweet today. Tomorrow we go back to work. There's big business waiting on us next week.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So something interesting he said with Kyle Duggar is that why they liked him at the trade deadline and made the move for him at the trade deadline. And I know some people said the Steelers didn't make a move at the trade deadline. And no, the Steelers did not make a move the day of the trade deadline. But they did trade for Kyle Duggar less than a week before the trade deadline. He played in the game the Sunday before the trade deadline, just 2 days before, 48 hours before the trade deadline. So he was on the team, 5-6 days by the time the trade deadline came and went. So that's the thing. Instead of trading for him the day they did, if they had waited to trade for him 5 or 6 days later on the actual day of the trade deadline, and it's okay, trade deadline move, 3 p.m. on that Tuesday, Steelers trade for safety Kyle Duggar from the New England Patriots. Patriots get a 6, Steelers get Duggar in a 7, and it's all the other terms, right? Terms, everything else is the same. But what is the difference? That's not, we're not talking about September making that move. This was days prior. So what's the difference between trading for Kyle Duggar the day they did versus the trade deadline? They just wouldn't have him for that one game. So I get where Coach Tomlin's coming from, talking about him as a trade deadline trade. or acquisition, even though it was not on the actual day of the trade deadline. But yes, great pick 6 by him. What else? Aaron's injury, the slight fracture in a bone in his wrist, and it's his left wrist. It's not his non-throwing, right? It's not a broken wrist. It is a broken bone in his wrist, and it's a slight fracture. I've had a broken bone where you could actually see the line on the x-ray. Now, that is the only bone I've ever broken, right? And I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if that's not normal from the way the doctor said it in my recollection, because that was 16 years ago. But you could actually see the fracture. The line right where it went through, that's where the bone is broken. And then it took, month and a half to heal. So I don't know how this is going to go. We don't know if he's going to play versus Chicago. That's a Mike Tomlin next press conference kind of thing. But good play by Mason, by Kenneth Gainwell. And yeah, Jalen returned, but maybe it was for the best if you kept him on light duty. That way Kenny could handle the load. Caleb Johnson could get a couple of touches, which he did. What else? James Pierre, great plays. And the fact that Jamar Chase was held to 3 catches off 10 targets for only 30 yards. And he was getting, hit a couple of times. Maybe he just lost his cool, and maybe that's why he spit on Jalen Ramsey. But obviously no excuse for it. He deserves the suspension he got. And that's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do leave a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.